Hey there, beautiful people. Thank you for tuning in with me, Brandy J, and my video show, The Thought Provoker, because I like to provoke thinking. I don't like to tell people what to think or just tell them stuff and expect them to go along with it or believe or whatever, but I just like people to truly use their actual thinking process, not that indoctrinated crap, not based on what you saw on the news. Don't even come near me with that. If you tell me anything like that wasn't in the news, that'll be in the news, you gotta start over again because it's probably why you're not receiving the importance of what we're going to talk about now and anything else that comes after. Anybody knows that that's all propaganda and misleading and it's control and it's a narrative. And if you don't know that, wake the hell up. Wake the hell up. Learned that a long time ago. I think in school. Yeah. They're not going to tell you what you need to know on the news. And let me tell you something. For you all you supposedly wise people, the revolution will not be televised. They don't tell you everything. They're not going to tell you everything. So don't ever rely on that and don't use that as your judgment and your narrative because it's foolish. Don't ever say that would have been on the news. Bullshit. The shit that you think we would know is the least of what they would actually tell us. What would they do that for? They tell us what they want us to know. And there's actual people that fall into that whole trap and actually feed off of that shit and feel like if they didn't see it there, then it's not going on. If they didn't see it there, then and if they see it there, it must be truth. Like, come on. Turn on the news every day and just listen to that shit every day. I mean, get some briefings and keep it pushing, but you're not getting informed. You're not having intelligent conversations. You're having to talk about bullshit. And, of course, some stuff is in there. It's real, it's true, but the whole basis around it is not to be useful or helpful. But you got to be willing to educate yourself. We've been indoctrinated. And if you don't think you're indoctrinated, then you got to go. Can't be in here with me. You need to go find out what indoctrination means, and you need to go find out why we're still indoctrinating our children now within these schools, because these are facts and we can do this all day long and I'll win. I mean, for one, I would teach for 9.5 years, and two, common sense just kind of tells you that shit when you pay attention to the bullshit that goes on. We were indoctrinated. If you don't do your homework or you just don't care, then how do you know where you're going? Because if you don't, then you're not going too far, because you need to know the agenda and the plan. And if you don't know it, foolish. Same people that was running shit then, running it now. The 1% never changed. Do you even know who they are? Probably not. You just say it. Give me names. We'll talk. But the point is, when you say these things, do you truly know what that means? And do you know the history of these refurbished words, the 1%? Do you know the history? Do you know the agenda? Do you know the plan? Do you know the Rockefeller? Do you know the Rothschild? Do you know that the shit that you think you're about to go achieve and do has everything to do with them not allowing you to? They let you play, keep you busy. They need you to keep doing what you do. Modern day slavery. But people don't want to hear that. Don't like to hear that because they love their indoctrination. They love to think they know what's going on. How do you know what's going on when you don't know what's going on? If you're not seeking it, researching it, looking deeply into it, what else are you doing? Looking at cars and what are you doing? Huh? It's your life. So when people say things like, oh, that doesn't matter, I don't care, well, you're saying that your very existence, your very life, oh, and by the way, just look over to your child and say, yeah, I'm not really invested in your future. I'm just going to keep passing on this shit to you and tell you how to survive in this bullshit versus giving them something different, because that's supposed to happen. You're not supposed to regress or stay within the same shit. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to go ahead and give you my call to action, what will come at the end of the show. Right now, you need to do your fucking homework. Because if you did, your tune would be different. And you damn sure would be a little bit more, probably a lot more concerned and do whatever it takes to change the narrative for your children. Because the only way you can be in control and have the power is if you educate yourself. Not accept the one they give you, but the one you need to take. Because if not, then you're basically saying, yeah, I'm willing to keep doing this shit, playing this shit. I mean, look around. You don't see no Malcolms, and I'm not even going to say Martin because so many people are so indoctrinated and fooled by that shit. Matter of fact, let's switch it up a little bit. Okay? So, did you know? No, seriously. To give you a little tidbit on Martin Luther King, so we don't be fooled with this indoctrinated crap. Nobody even pays attention how many times they've changed the day of MLK. Yeah, no. Everybody's just like, let's give tribute to the man that what? The man that led his people into a burning house, which he said himself. The man that started off with the civil rights movement, not in a very generous way. He was set in motion to kind of do us like, these pastors and preachers be doing these days, in those Christian churches and stuff. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But you wouldn't know that because they didn't tell us that. And you weren't going to try to find out because you just believe whatever. And then you find out it's a lie and you're just like, well, I'll just stay indoctrinated and never educate myself so I can just pass this dumb shit on to my children. I mean, what's your life worth to you? What's your knowledge? What's your wisdom? Because wisdom doesn't come out of your ass. And it's not coming from your experiences No, it's coming from you knowing what was taken from you, why, and what has been put in place, right? To make you think that you have these privileges, these things that you think that you are actually being successful with, but they are really good because they have you living in their created world, their system, their way, their education, their labor, their religion. I mean, the list goes on and on. Relationship, sex, marriage, what else? We don't even really know the whole meaning and truth and the ways of marriage. And this indoctrinated shit, these certificates and shit. Birth certificates, all these things. You allow them to call you a whole entity that's not even real, black. That's why they're able to do these things to us. Because if you go into the color law, black is not a person. It can't be a color, cannot be a person. Human being, you already know they say that we are 1/3 or whatever that shit. Well, I mean, first of all, we're not black. But it's not a person. Black is not what is it? It's not a national. It's not what. It's a culture. Black is a culture. What's that even mean? Who gave you black? Never thought about it, did you? Did you know what your melanin skin is worth? Do you know what it means? Do you know the importance of our melanin skin, our melanated skin, and what it needs for our immune system and for us in general. So many people don't know that shit. But yeah, you over here in this fucking hamster wheel, more concerned about chasing that dollar that has no value unless you know, get it, spend it, it's control. I mean, they sure ain't using it. Hmm. Yeah. Anywho, back to Martin, who willingly knew what he was doing, what he signed on for. That's why he had to leave and end his relationship with his lovely white lover, or love. It seems like it was the love of his damn life, the way he put it. But it was true. I wonder why they left that out. Well, it doesn't matter because nobody's going to question it because we just be like, oh, okay, well, no, I'm not going to find out because my eyes hurt and I don't want to educate myself. I just want to keep slaving away at some shit that most likely, if you don't do your homework, don't rip away from you in the first place. Yeah. I'll get her name for you. If not in this one, matter of fact, I can get it right now. Um, but yeah, let's do that. While we're doing that, let's carry on. So, he was 20 when he started this whole, civil rights thing, and he was 36. So it really wasn't that long. And by the time he realized and really, you know what I mean, let it sink in what he was doing, that speech somewhere out there that they didn't present to us because we weren't supposed to know this, or did they care? Knows. But yeah, they did. That's why they're all on this shit where they don't want people knowing about history and all that stuff. It's so freaking plain and blatantly out there that you think people would be like, you know what? Let me stop what these people doing. So actually out here running around like boo boo the fool. Because the more you don't try to teach yourself, the more you are showing them exactly what they wanted. So they can repeat the same shit to our kids. How much do you truly care about the future? We ain't gonna be here always. So, anyways, MLK, he had a whole speech where he talked about he felt like he led his people to a burning house. Around that time, that's when shit started going downhill because he was like woke, and it gets a little worse, a little bit more scandalous. But hey, that's not what this one is about. Save that for another time, or for you to actually read and But I gotta sneeze, so hold on. Excuse me. What do you have to sneeze and you're doing a broadcast podcast? That's an interesting topic. Definitely should talk about that. Just for fun. What do? You just fucking sneeze. But anyhow, let's go ahead and get that information. But yeah. So that's what was up with him. So I'm just saying, like, let's cut the bullshit and know what the hell we talking about, before we go around talking about it and saying all these great things and then leaving out some shit. You know what I mean? No, Malcolm X, different story. That's gonna be a different time. Trust me, we're gonna have that too, because intelligent with the shits. You know what I mean? But really was trying to give us a better fighting chance without having to conform and keep dancing in this modern day slavery and indoctrinated world, trying to make it. He had courage, the guts to stand up, as many did that no one talks about, even women. Also Dick Gregory. People sleep on him. He's a freaking genius. Dude rocks. Man, check him out. Look him up. If you're out here reading whatever you reading the wrong shit, because these were boots to the ground. So when people say change can't be, that's some bullshit. You need to sit your ass down, think about it, and be grateful. Because if it wasn't for change, this people stood up with courage and did, you wouldn't be in this better than then now world today. Common sense. Common sense. I tell you that. And when people say things out of their mouths like, "Oh yeah, the great leader," blah 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 blah, and then say you can't make any change, but you just sat here and gave tribute, so obviously you could. So it just shows people just be talking and talk. Or that's just what they believe for themselves. Who knows? But thank God nobody's listening, because if they did, goodness gracious, shit, they probably got people trying to distract them or tell them they couldn't do it or anything like that. See, it takes a strong mind and a person that knows and has the heart and the gut, and they have something that they stand on, they stand for, their life, their respect. We'll be out here just dealing out with other people, our own people, whomever, you know what I mean? Acting like we about that life, or we, you know what I mean? We ain't no punks, or, you know what I mean? I'm not taking no disrespect. I'm not blah, 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 blah. But when it comes to this very system, sit down like a little yitch and you bite it. You make excuses. For whatever reason, I don't know. But let me tell you something. That's your shit, not everybody else's. Don't be a Debbie Downer. You better be grateful for people that are willing to do things to make a better way for your very youth. What would you have them to do? Do nothing. Wasted, do criminal activities. I don't know. So, if you're not with it, don't try to knock the next person, because your ass don't see it, don't want it, or have given up. I don't know what the case is. But I support, congratulate, celebrate, want us to be able to lift up our youth today so they can have that same courage and bravery to make change. Because if you're not willing to do it and you've checked out already, then what do you expect for them? Nope, nothing you do will ever. On this earth, this planet here, there's nowhere you can go, run, or hide. But it's not even about that. It's about what do you stand for. And if you don't stand for you might stand for shit, I don't know. But if it's not for greatness and not cowardice, but actual courage, then that's your shit. I'm fine. You don't hurt me none. I'm just saying. Just don't be trying to spew your negative reality of the way you see things as everybody else's. Because things is happening right now. Not the shit on the news, okay? For goodness sakes. Goodness sakes. But let's stay on topic because there's so much to go over. We can discuss these things another time. But I thought I'd drop that MLK shit off to you real quick. Go look it up. Teach your children because they're not going to do it at the school. Want them to know about their history. I mean, come on, because if you don't, they shit repeats. Duh. And they'll believe that same whack ass shit that you did, that we all did. And it'll be easy to fool them and fall right into the same traps, maybe even worse. So you can make all the excuses in the world that you want to. It doesn't really matter. It only affects your way, your life. If you think negative, you're negative. If you think we're greatness, you're greatness. Come on. Duh. We talk a lot about energy, but we don't have no fucking idea what that shit means. We don't, people talk about it, don't even know that they are energy. Literally. 60% electricity. What do your intelligent conversations consist of? Because if you knew half of this shit, we'd do a lot better. We wouldn't have to be sitting up in doctor offices and therapists. We could actually maintain our shit ourselves because then we would know better and we would know about ourselves, about our mind, about our brain, how it works. Because you don't know the different compartments and everything in our how shit that we put in our mouth affects our mindset and puts us at a lower level. I mean, come on. And then we feed that shit to our children and wonder why they up in school acting a fool, can't get it together. They freaking labeled them as all these different learning disabilities, but yet we accept it because some people just find it so freaking unnecessary, unimportant, or just so boring to actually try to do something different. Oh, I'm not a doctor. Well, shit. Open a book. Research, learn, do some shit. Trust and believe. You think just because these motherfuckers went and got these papers and stuff like that, that okay, yeah, you ain't no surgeon, ain't nobody asking you to be. But damn it, you can educate yourself enough to know what the freak is going on with yourself, with your body, and how it operates, and what you put in it, and how it affects it. So there is no excuse. None whatsoever. I could talk to you blue in the face. I forgot who was that. That was it. Freaking Einstein. He said something. It was a quote about somebody, person that just talks all the time, don't listen, just always talks, always has a rebuttal, just talk, talk, talk. Is a fool, or it said it something in that type of way, kind of. You know what I mean? You know, like don't want to listen to nobody, know it all. They got it off. You know what I mean? It's just like, Dios mío, man. People out here thinking they created themselves. That's the dumbest shit ever. Anywho, we got this brains and these heart, and we don't even attempt. You can lift up a fucking lid of a car, a hood of a car, and tell you about a fucking car, but can't even tell you shit about your own mind. And then you go to these people and they tell you about you. They tell you what works, what not. Take this, do that, without a fucking clue. We in here eating shit. You better recognize. And I have a word for I want to use for you guys. Hopefully, before I get off of here, to go and check these foods out that we are eating and giving to your children, yo. The radiation we're exposing them to, please. Let's give them a break off the devices. Let's go back to they so indoctrinated with this shit. You give them a book, they're not gonna know what to do because we just throw devices in front of them. Yeah. Which, by the way, is dangerous on so many levels, but we don't know that either because we don't want to do the homework to find out why these things are going on with our bodies and stuff. We let other people tell us what's going on with it. Isn't that crazy? When you know your shit. It's your body. If you don't know, find out. Uh, Baffles me sometimes. What about you guys? I'm just saying. Anywho, give me 1 second. Oh my God. All right. So there is a book. Gerald, what is it? The Untold Story of MLK's White Girlfriend. I guess that's what the book is called. Or the Untold Story, yeah. We were madly, the Untold Story of MLK's White Girlfriend. In the book, Garrow briefly describes a serious relationship between King and a young white woman around the same age named Betty. Then it talks about, uh, where they met, but also some Martin Luther King's secret heartache, right? Because I told you it was like his love, right? And they made them split that up so it wasn't going to be good luck, you know what I'm saying, for what they needed him to do. Martin Luther King's secret heartache and the white woman he could never marry. Even then, the passionate man dared to dream big because of his girl, his legendary civil rights activist, little known first love, Betsy Mowitz. Yep. But so as a teenager, college student, Dr. Martin Luther King defied society's rules by openly dating a white woman. The heartbroken, even he ultimately realized their love could not survive. So she would hang out and watch as he played pool and table tennis with his friends. He'd take her for drives and even out for meals when his student budget was stretched. In the years before he became a civil rights leader, an icon who would ultimately sacrifice his life for his dream of equality. Dr. Martin Luther King was like most other 20-year-old college boys in 1949, trying to woo their girl. Except even then, King wasn't really like every other college boy. So I mean, just definitely, it's interesting. You can care or not care; it won't affect me none. Yeah, I mean, hey, people like knowledge, some people don't. What people consider knowledge these days, I don't know. But isn't that crazy? The whole civil rights thing, and he had a whole white woman, and they knew about it. So I should tell you, they knew about it, and and he still got to do, and no one brought that shit up. No one. Because they needed him to keep black people at bay, so they couldn't let that shit out the bag. They kept that shit quiet, right? Don't let nothing change it. Um, so yeah, it's a good read. Definitely check that out. Let me make sure I'm give you some highlights. Uh-huh. So we were madly in love the way young people can fall in love, Betty revealed in 2016 before she died at the age 89. So she was here until 2016, right? And she died at 89. The interview she granted to author Patrick Parr, who spent years trying to track her down as he researched his book, the seminarian Martin Luther King Jr. Comes of Age, was the only one she ever gave. She never gave anybody an interview, never talked about it. I damn sure that nobody did until 2016 when she herself talked about it. Hmm. She described how captivated she was by King as the world was also one day to become, and how she fell for his ambition and idealism. I listened and he'd just talk and talk. He was wonderful, a joy to be with and listen to. She explained one thing Emil knew at the age of 19 was that he could change the world. She must have known. Marcus Wood once described how King used to go over their house quite often to see her. I suppose he thought that if I am out of the South now and not back at home in the open, nothing illegal, a free place, sure, I can go over and talk to this white girl, he added. But while King and Betty certainly weren't doing anything illegal, interracial marriage was still illegal in other states. The relationship wasn't the norm, even if their liberal community, they would still have prompted stares, comments, and unease. And he didn't even hide the relationship from the community, although the couple weren't overt in their affections. They weren't overt in their affections. So he really wasn't trying to hide it within this community. So there are people that knew. And they went out on dates. He was trying to get her to go with him to restaurants in Chester. She herself maintained she was never conscious of the problems their presence might have posed, shrugging skin color off with the throwaway comment, I never noticed. I always had a tan and dark brown hair. She was actually more edgy about eating out. I'm embarrassed to let him know I had never been to any of those places in those days. Who went to restaurants? She said she laughed. Hmm. This is exactly what I was saying. Okay, although his friends were largely accepting, some warned him it could damage his future if things developed further. If King wanted to return to the Deep South as a pastor and fight for black civil rights, he knew deep down even his own community would struggle to accept his white wife. Tellingly, it seems he didn't even tell his own family he was dating Betty. Even when his close sister Christine visited, Betty would retreat. It was because King worried about his mother finding out. He was worried what she'd think, Betty said. Initially, he pushed away his friends' worries. But definitely would like you guys to look that up if you're interested. If not, then don't be. But I'll tell you this much. I want to let that lead you into what else you've been lying about so you can stop indoctrinating your children, but give them truth while they keep trying to cover up stuff and sell it to your kids, and you're okay with it for the sake of education. Stuff. What it lies and bullshit and indoctrination. And this very same shit that Rockefeller said he created this school system for was to treat employees, factory workers, basically modern day slaves and dummies, dumb down society, and then you accept it and keep giving it to your children. The same shit that he created still going on today, still being taught today. What are we gonna do? I don't know. What do you do in any other situation? I've seen people fight harder for less. Sorry, my mouse fell. So I mean, you do know Rosa Parks wasn't actually who they said she was, right? That was some bullshit because she was light skinned, and the actual person that actually was the first person to take a seat, you know, all that bus in front and all that shit wasn't her. I could look up that lady too. Uh, let's do that. Why not? You guys busy? Okay. Thought provoking for the intellectual. No pun intended. No disrespect. Just saying. Yeah. Do, 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 do. So, how you guys doing today? I mean, this is all in good, like I said, this the shows called the thought provoker. So therefore, I'm not here to like be like, oh, woo, woo, woo. It's really just to get people thinking, use their own mindset, their own brain. You know what I mean? Not to try to do what other people do and try to make you or tell you, you know what I mean, what to think or they know is right. It's just educate yourself. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's really out there saying that. They want you to believe their bullshit or they got it all figured out. They don't even do the damn work or research or educate themselves or even an attempt to do it at home. What I'm saying is inform yourself. Why not? Empower yourself. Well, it's not going to do you no good. Oh, that sounds pretty ridiculous. But so let's go. Let me give you a little bit, and then you go find the rest. If you like intelligent, conversations and knowledge, like real true knowledge, because if you're not getting that, then what the hell kind of knowledge you think you got? If you don't got the correct one, I'm forget. People say that's not important. What's that? That's not important. What's important? Shit that you still cycling in, because that's what it is. They talk about that shit too. The Rockefeller, slavery. What's going on right now? Yeah, that's important. I tell you, whew, people always walk around talking about it, don't lie, lies and lies, but they like being lied to. It's a fact. If you don't, shows me you ain't even sending your kids to school for education. You're sending them so they can survive in this indoctrinated ass world, or it's because they require it and you don't, you know what I mean, have the time, space, place to say screw that. You know what I'm saying? And do what you need to do. But I don't know. Hey, if you like it, you know, let's say I love it. If you like it, good luck with that shit. Okay, so Parks was not the first person. I've known this for quite some time. Trust. Parks was not the first African American woman to be arrested for refusing to yield her seat on the Montgomery bus, right? It was this pregnant young black woman. She was darker, and they thought that Rosa Parks, she was like an actress or something. They thought she would fit the part even better. She's light skinned, pretty. Even then, our own people, it looks better. What the hell? What do you mean it looks better? Indoctrinated thinking, huh? People still do it today. We do it to our own people. Colorism. That's the most dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life. When we bust each other out, like dark skinned and light skinned. Black people got a lot of nerve going around blaming problems on everybody else. We got our own. And that is definitely something that is some dumbass shit. When we bring that bullshit within our community or within our, you know, people, and separate each other by having this whole vendetta with light skin and dark skin. I mean, the words can't really describe it. It's dumb ass shit. Ignorant, dumb, stupid. It makes no sense. What the hell is wrong with you? Especially from where you came from. And you're gonna bring it in and do it within your own people. People like that just really just are dumb as shit. You're welcome. What else do you call it? They call it colorism. I call it dumb as shit. What's the point? Mind you, you know, the history, but what's the point? What does it do? Why do you do it? So much to the psyche behind that because of what within that whole history it did to people. Actually made some people feel bad about themselves, didn't like themselves. We'll be quick to tear each other down, bullying and all. But we'll get into that later, you know? And so it's like, oh, I'm better than because I'm light skinned. You know, have you ever seen black people that get so excited because they got some white in their family? I know somebody would be like, it don't even look like. Look, I'm not gonna say the word. I'm not gonna do it on here, but nigga, you black, African American, melanin, whatever you want to call it. You should be proud of it. But so excited because we got white in our family. Like more proud of that than just being black. That is some, you know what I mean? Shit passed along, carried down. To think that that's something amazing and special. They don't be like, I got black, I'm black, you know? So we got white in our family. Who gives a shit? You know what I mean? But to them, it makes them feel a way. They feel like, we got what does that really mean? I would love, I'm telling you, I'm a thought provoking person and I'll ask these questions. Why not? Question questions. Like, why is that something that, you know, that's a thing, you know? And then don't even look at, but want to tell everybody, oh, we white. Oh, she got white, so we white. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because black wasn't good enough. That's some indoctrinated, passed along through ancestry, you know, through the bloodline. We still have some of those things within us, and we don't even know it. We don't even know how foolish we sound. And it shows there still within a lot of black people the lack of love for themselves because of that. Because those things that happen to us, those words, those things they say, people started to believe. The fuck are they? Evil ass, ungodly, haters, jealous, needed and wanted to hold us down and make us feel like we wasn't shit. Right? But people do that already with to one another, no matter what race. So it's like nobody even really picks up on that because everybody just got kind of used to doing this shit, right? Tearing people down. When people don't need to realize when people do that shit to you is because they don't like themselves, they don't love themselves, and you're an easy target. Remember, your haters or your congratulators. But you ain't ready for that to go deeper into the whole mindset behind that whole game, and then how it kind of screwed us up. We carried it from, because we are our ancestors, carried it along. We're still holding on to it, right? Because we don't get the proper help and care because we're in their indoctrinated system. So they give us the people, therapists, and this and that. We don't seek it ourselves to go out and get one that kind of probably looks like us, that deals with our trauma, our things, because not everybody's on the same basis. But hey, what do I know? Just do a lot of fucking real life outside of this slave based economy type of, you know, reading and learning and research, right? Especially if you want to be better at anything or in anything, then that's where you would start. Because mentally, we have things that we have going on that's way different from what another culture or a white person that would deal with. So Black people need to have care, mental health care, from the right person that deals with those type of traumas and the things, our thinking and the way we perceive things and what we've been through and how society has created a lot of our let's see, where we see things, the things that have happened to us, the things that we have been up against. But you got people like, no, it don't matter, because they don't know any better. See what I'm saying? The therapist's not going to tell you that shit. But if you don't know that, and if you can't tell or understand your own self outside of thinking you know self, but know how that shit affects you mentally without you even freaking knowing, because we accepted it, we're indoctrinated. But if you don't give a shit, well, you ain't shit if you're not willing to at least change it for your child so they don't have to deal with that shit. Yes, I said it. You ain't shit. And that don't have to be like the worst you ain't shit. Just be like, you ain't shit. I don't know. Take it how you want. But I mean, don't think about you. Think beyond you. Think about your children. And why not? What would it hurt? Especially when we're in times where we're actually able to do better for ourselves and have access and and change some of these things. And for that simple fact that we can and not do anything, it just shows that we out here free, but right here not. Because if that was the case, then you would be doing everything you could. Your mindset would be different. That would be your focus, right? But hey, foods we eat have a lot to do with that too. So I get it. But yeah, she wasn't, and Parks was a civil rights activist before her arrest. Parks was not a longtime member of the Montgomery chapter, which she joined in 1943. Um, just briefing, because you guys can go look it up yourself if you want to know. If you don't, I don't know, then keep doing whatever they tell you and whatever shit they told you and teach you. You know, just keep it up. You're doing great. Big up job. Okay, so in 1943, so Parks had a prior encounter with James Blake, the bus driver who demanded she vacate her seat. In 1943, Blake had ejected Parks from his bus after she refused to re-enter the vehicle through the back door after paying her fare. As a front, I never wanted to be on that man's bus again, she wrote in her autobiography. After that, I made a point of looking at who was driving the bus before I got on. I didn't want any more run ins with that mean one. After the written order from the Supreme Court outlawing bus segregation arrived at the Montgomery bus boycott ended on December 21st, 1956. One of the newly integrated buses that Parks boarded to pose for press photographs happened to be driven by Blake. Her act of civil disobedience was not premeditated. So she was basically saying that none of that was premeditated. Like even though she knew that the NAACP was looking for a lead plaintiff in the case to test the constitu help me out here the constitu the constitutionality of the Jim Crow law. She did not set out to be arrested because she said she wouldn't get on that bus no more, and all of a sudden not. He just happened to be riding that one, but she said she was so preoccupied that day she failed to notice that he was driving the bus. She said, if I had been paying attention, she wrote, I would even have gotten on that bus. She's pretty young. She said her feet were not tired. That's not why she didn't get up. She said she was very, very young. She was only 42, and that went down. Okay, so now let's get to the part where they don't tell us. Claudette, the 15-year-old. The 9 months before Parks was jailed, 15-year-old Claudette Colvin was the first Montgomery bus passenger to be arrested for refusing to give up her seat for a white passenger. Parks was involved in raising defense funds for COVID. Three other African American women, Aurelia Broader, Mary Louise Smith, and Susie McDonald, also ran afoul of the bus segregation law prior to Parks. The four were plaintiffs in the Broader versus Gale case that resulted in the Supreme Court ruling bus segregation unconstitutional. Okay. Now, 15-year-old Claudette Colvin, there's more to her. We'll get into that another time. Or just go ahead and put her name in and find out what that was about. But they presented that as she was the first, as that was a whole Rosa Parks things. But there were actually four before her that did that same thing. Mm. The comparison, do the research, but hey, what do I know? But I know that I had a great time with you guys here today. Thanks for listening. It's always a pleasure. Thought Provokers in the building. Your girl, Brandy J. Uh, Keep coming back because it gets more and more interesting. And sometimes funny, fun, whatever. If I make you mad, cry, sad, laugh, whatever, or nothing at all, then I've done my job. Pretty much. Especially if you sat here and watched or listened. Just kidding. It's all in good faith. But until next time, my friends, this is your girl, Brandy J. And you guys have a blessed day. And let's start educating ourselves because we haven't. That wasn't educated. It still isn't. It's indoctrination. Do your homework. The dude is still, he's talking about 4 more years. And with my experience and the things that I've seen, I saw and know about the education system and the Common Core and how this, I mean, for goodness sakes, the shit that I just have no freaking idea. So please, miss me with your bullshit. But until next time, my lovely friends, peace.